Thank you for joining me. I am Leslie Burby, editor of Autism Parenting Magazine. For this podcast, I interviewed Caroline Coleman. Caroline has a nonverbal autistic son in his late 20s that can sing with pitch perfect. He can memorize lyrics and he can play music just from hearing it once from memory. She was shocked to find this out, and I was shocked to hear about their story. So I encourage you to listen to their story. It is such a beautiful story about communication. Kyle Coleman may be nonverbal, but his mom has helped him find his voice.
I tried playing the piano and I'm horrible at it, so I admire anyone that can play the piano.
No, well, I can't play the piano, but Kyle just picks it up by ear, so he hears a tune and he remembers that tune, and then he can play the melody of that tune on the piano. So, and yeah, so it's quite remarkable. I mean, I know he's not the only person that can do that. I mean, he had about 4 CDs in his bedroom that he would listen to, and he'd learn all the songs of these CDs, and he could play them on the keyboard, and he could sing them like pitch perfect. And then we realised that he could not only play songs, that he actually had all this vocabulary, all this, songs in his head, and he could sing them with pitch perfect. And what we did there, we just saturated him. We just went and got, we went shopping, and I said to Kyle, would you like to choose a CD? And he would get CDs, and he'd learn them in time for the music therapist to come the following week. So he was learning like a whole, 12, 13 songs in a weekend for her visit on a Monday, and he'd just be able to do Kyle, which was funny. So he'd do that, and then I come Monday, he'd just be playing them, and he'd be singing them. And she said, this is like the amount of, how his absorption levels is so high, he can absorb this so well, because I've never seen anything like that, So that was it then, Steve. We realised that was a doorway in, and I just then exposed him to as many musical outlets as I could possibly expose him to. He might like to hear his voice recorded, so I took him to a music studio that wasn't too far away from where we live, and I spoke to John down at the music studio, and I said, my son's autistic, and can Kyle come and record some music? He said, yeah, we'll have a go, we'll see how we get on, we'll make it as easy as we can for Kyle. So that's what happened, he just, he recorded a song, and it took him only 3 takes, and he, did it perfectly, and then we decided then to do an album to raise autism awareness that we released on World Autism Day last year, and we didn't realise it would get that amount of attention. We just put a little thing in our local paper that Kyle was autistic, he was a local guy, and it went from our local paper, which only has about 2,000-3,000 readers, to a national newspaper, and then that went to CBS News literally within about 48 hours, so that news travelled pretty fast. And and as a result, we now sell albums all over the world now, because you can buy it on through through iTunes or Amazon or Amazon.co.uk and .com, and also you can buy via his website, so that's kylecoleman.co.uk, and you can actually buy it from his website. There you can buy a sort of physical copy from our distributors that are here in the UK. We send them on as well. So, and it's great. I mean, it's not, we haven't sold 1 million copies yet, but we sell a lot, and we're reinvesting it back into another album that we're releasing. Well, we was hoping to release it for the end of this year, but it's going to be more likely for World Autism Day next year, 2014, because there's still quite a lot of work to do. And this next album is all original tracks, so there's 13 tracks. They're all original, just like Just Listen was. We wrote that, and the others were not the covers, but these are all original tracks. And every track will be, they represent the many facets of autism. So we're trying to educate people and raise awareness through the power of the way we write songs. So Just Listen was all about communication difficulties of something that's non-verbal.
Right.
And that you have to feel and sense what's being conveyed to you and use your instincts and your intuition more, which as a mum, I'm sure you understand that when you've got a child that's non-verbal, you don't know what's going on in their head. You've got to, it's guesswork, it's highly sensitive, you have to be intuitive. So that's what Just Listen was about. It was about going beyond the words and just really feeling what somebody was trying to say, And there's a quote by William Shakespeare that I really like, and it says, when man ceases to talk, he then starts to communicate. And that was what really inspired me and Lucy Sky writing that song, because, it was such a powerful statement by probably one of the best writers in the world, So that's how we came to write Just Listen. So the songs we're working on now,
and
there's one.
I'm sorry, so you write the lyrics? I was going to ask who does write the lyrics?
Yeah, I write the lyrics. I mean, Lucy Sky and I wrote the lyrics to Just Listen. She was one of the representatives from the National Autistic Society over here in the UK, which is the biggest organisation for autism. And she just happened to be a songwriter, and I approached her because I needed them to back me up, with just kind of getting it out there in the media.
Right.
And she said, oh yeah, I can write songs, I'm a musician. I said, oh great. I said, well, I'm not a great musician, but I'm a lyricist. So, but I'm now working on this new album, which I said it will be out next year, and I've written all but 2 of the songs for this album. So Lucy's written one, John Carter, who does the musical arrangements for me, he's written one, and then I've written the rest, which are all about all about how autism affects people. So we've written one and finished one that's called Standing on Solid Ground, which is all about why people need to stim and rock, and repeat behavioural patterns. And it might look strange, but it's kind of it's a calming thing. It enables people to make sense of the world and find, some sort of equilibrium, if you like. So, it's kind of an indie rock tune. So it's quite a rocked up number. They're kind of very current sounding songs, so that, they're not ballads as such. They're kind of very chart sounding sort of songs that we're writing. So that's kind of what we're doing now.
Fantastic. Well, I think you answered all of my questions. I guess what I wasn't sure of was, who was writing the songs, who was writing the music.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I heard you sing. You have a beautiful voice.
Leslie thinks you've got a great voice. Yeah.
And I have musician friends here, and they are very impressed. They think you have a wonderful voice, and you have beautiful talent. So I wish you all of the best, and I hope we can get you some added exposure, and
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, and I would just like to add that, even though all the songs that we write they're all inspired by what Kyle gives us, in terms of, the way he is and the way that he connects with us, and, what he tries to tell us in his indirect way, if you like. So, I'm hoping that it does touch the hearts and minds of everybody that comes in contact with autism, and especially parents and caregivers once Kyle had a voice, now it's just an echo that it's lost in the ether. So, and I'm hoping that these songs not only help to raise the awareness, but kind of act as a way of, parents that kind of can tell the same story. I've just contained it in a song, in a musical piece.
Right.
So, it's not only to raise awareness, but it's also, I think, I've got 26 years of autism under my belt, so I'm sort of fairly well versed,
Right.
And it's kind of like, don't give up, don't give up, don't think that this is it, because it's not. You just have to find the hook, and it's music for Kyle, it could be art for another person, it could be aeroplanes for another person, it could be animals, horses, whatever. There's something that you can get in there, and it's just finding that door and then opening that door for you. As a parent, you need to, or as a caregiver, you need to facilitate that door. They can't do it for themselves. But so that's the intent of my work here, where with Kyle, he showcases it just through the fact that he's got a natural affinity to sing and play music. So, we hope, we don't want to take over the world. We want to do it very sensitively. I'm very aware about not overexposing Kyle. I need to be sensitive to his autism and his own privacy. And, I'm not looking to do a world tour or anything like that. We've been offered record deals and all that sort of stuff, and I've turned all of that down. We're just very sensitive to making sure that we can still show the world what Kyle can do. You're tired? It's you. So he's, but also, it's important that he gets to show, he progresses as a musician, so I need to give him these opportunities when they do come along, and some exposure, but it just needs to be done in the best possible way. So I tend to align with, like yourself, magazines that are, promoting autism or, promoting autism awareness, in the most sensitive way. So that, that's kind of what we do.
I think it's wonderful, and I do agree. I believe everybody should use the talent that they have. I mean, for me, it's writing, and I wanted to help the autism community, get the knowledge, get the information that they need. I know as parents, we're always extremely overwhelmed and tired, and we don't necessarily always have the time to go and keep up with the latest research and the latest therapies, and so I wanted to start a magazine that would put it all in one area, one location to help parents.
Sure.
And I think you're right. I mean, I think every person has one thing that they can really focus on. They can really become fantastic. So I know with my own children that they have it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think writing, obviously, that's your passion, and in a way that's kind of part of it's part of the journey. You've obviously got skill for writing, and it's like you can then you can. I see it like, and obviously my sort of my songwriting sort of skills, and I look at it as I'm being of service to autism.
Right.
And that's kind of it's quite therapeutic in some ways.
Yes, it really is. Okay.
And I don't want to use the word healing, but therapeutic, I'm going to use that word, because I feel that rather than just being frustrated, you're active, you're proactive.
Right.
Yeah. So I sense myself that by me writing, it's kind of a cathartic experience for me, and it's something. It's an exercise or a way that I can join Kyle in his world, where we can't have a conversation in the way that you and I have a conversation, but we can have a conversation lyrically. So I think that's been really good for me as a mum, and it takes away the kind of the overwhelming responsibility that we all feel perhaps sometimes that we have, because we do have children or teenagers, adolescents with complex supportive needs. So for me, it takes away the kind of that sort of overwhelming life task that we have, and it's something where you can join your children, and it just seems like a natural process for both of you. In your case, you've got two children, so I just feel it that way. That's how I'm processing noticing it, that it just seems like a natural process for me and Kyle now in our relationship to actually be musically involved with one another, so, and it feels very grown up, it feels very mature, and just the next chapter of our lives, really, it's like a rite of passage for both of us, and it's given me a sense of really realising now, I'm in my late 40s, Carl's in his mid-20s, and I kind of feel now, it's almost like I know what I'm here for now, do you know what I mean? It's what I'm here to do, so it's had a real therapeutic effect on us, and we've got a great relationship. So, and that's what I'm hoping to, that, other parents and caregivers get that too, and I'd love to think that they get that, that they can sort of feel that,
Right. Well, I thank you so much for meeting with me today, and so if people want to get Kyle's album, do they go to iTunes or do they go directly to his site? Which one?
They can go to iTunes. If they put Kyle Coleman in, it should just come up with his album title, Therefore I Am. And also if you go to Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk for Kyle Coleman and University.
Okay.
And in addition to that, you can just go to his website, which is kylecoleman.co.uk. Okay, and then if you click on, I'm not quite sure which page it is, it could be the About Me page, I'm not sure, but if you go through the pages at the top of the website, you can click on one of them and it would bring up his album, and then you just click on to order, I think it is, and then it will come straight from the distributor. So I think you pay through PayPal, I think that's how it's done. I didn't set it up, it was set up by something else. So you can get hold of it if that's what you wanted. But if you want a digital download, you can do it through iTunes or through either of the Amazons.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Leslie.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our podcast. If you would like a free issue of Autism Parenting Magazine, please go to our website at www.autismparentingmagazine.com and enter your email. Also, feel free to like us on Facebook at Autism Parenting Magazine and on Twitter at Autism Parent Mag. And my personal handle on Twitter is Leslie AppMag, if you would like to get in touch with me that way. It is LESLIEAPMAG. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.